there's a very close correlation between the value of the assets your client has and the amount of time that you can spend talking to them.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yuri from PWM, and I'd like to welcome you to our weekly tea break. Today's special guest was formerly with Barclays Wealth and Deutsche Bank. He now heads up the Opus Una Financial Services Consultancy. He is the tech expert Sharmil Patwa. It's great to see you again, Sharmil.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Yuri. Pleased to be here.
And what kind of tea are you drinking today, Sharmil?
Today I'm drinking Earl Grey. Earl Grey is infused with bergamot oil, which is from a bergamot orange, and I love everything to do with oranges. So now I understand why I like Earl Grey.
In the wealth management world, Sharmil, is there enough of this sitting down and having a cup of tea and swapping ideas, or is it now all about the fast digital reactions, clients just getting a menu and choosing something really quickly? This old idea of sitting down with the clients, debating the issues, talking about the geopolitics, about the succession plan over a cup of tea, is that still going on?
Yeah, I think it's still going on, but sitting around and having a conversation, that costs money. I think it very much depends on the assets that the clients that you're dealing with have. And yeah, I think there's a very close correlation between the value of the assets your client has and the amount of time that you can spend talking to them. As you get to the less wealthy, the opportunities to have a face-to-face conversation, whether over a cup of tea or otherwise, diminish somewhat. But that's not to say that those clients can't have a really great experience.
We've got two articles this week about succession planning, which is kind of seen as the softer side of wealth management. Do you find that arena being increasingly digitised as well when you go in to visit the banks to conduct your projects?
Those pieces were very focused on wealthy families, and wealthy families' priorities, often are wealth preservation and succession planning. When you're talking about less wealthy clients, technology enablement needs to be the way in which services can be delivered.
Absolutely.
If you think about their requirements, which are actually quite similar to an ultra-high net worth, they need someone to understand their goals and their objectives, which is a planning piece, and they need a way of executing to achieve those goals and objectives, which is the investment management piece. The fundamental needs are the same, but the way in which they're going to have to be delivered are different. The amount it costs to have an advisor talk to them.
All about cost.
It's all about cost, yeah. What I think is becoming increasingly possible is for clients at a lower level of wealth to have a really incredible experience, but that experience to be massively technology enabled. It's perfectly possible for a self-directed client to go through a guided journey where they can create a financial plan, and then for them to execute against that plan by having exposure to a whole of market platform. We have artificial intelligence, we don't have artificial emotion. There is very much a place for the advisor, particularly when we're dealing with those kind of emotive subjects.
And also, Sharmil, in recommending the thematics for the investment management, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And my colleague Elisa, she's just conducted our annual Global Asset Tracker survey, where we interview 50 chief investment officers, all the leading global private banks, including the ones that you worked for in the past. 24 trillion, I think, they advise in assets. When we were speaking to the really big players, the likes of UBS Wealth Management, they're predicting about 10% annual return this year for typical portfolios, despite Trump and the tariffs and volatility going on.
Yeah.
And they're saying that the tech stocks, the artificial intelligence will continue to drive the markets. As somebody who lives and breathes technology, do you feel that AI will continue to drive returns, business, society, and the wealth management world?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in the transformative power of artificial intelligence, both in terms of automation of processes, but also in terms of data insights and actionable intelligence. There's been relatively widespread adoption of AI in terms of automating customer service related tasks. The current experience is akin to talking to someone in an offshore call centre. It's not necessarily perfect, but it's moving in the right direction. But I think there's going to be all sorts of opportunities for more interesting, complex use cases, which are more concerned with the analysis of large volumes of data, creating insights and then actionable intelligence. And those will manifest in terms of research and investment management.
Actually managing the portfolios, how far are we away from that? Obviously, there's robo-advisors. Do you think we should trust computers, AI, to manage portfolios for us?
I think we've been trusting computers to do investment management stuff for quite some time, actually. Some version of algorithmic trading has been around since the 1970s. We've got index tracking funds, been around for a long time. Those are algorithmically driven.
Not the whole portfolios, though, for wealthy individuals, parts of them.
No. When we're talking about actual management of portfolios, I think that's kind of another bridge to cross. In the short term, there'll be relatively widespread adoption of artificial intelligence-driven technologies to support investment decision making. I think there's a lot of concern at the moment about leaving artificial intelligence unsupervised. Some of that is legitimate. I think some of that is, frankly, a little bit protectionist. We will get to a point where you can leave AI to run portfolios. I'm not sure when that will be.
My colleague Ali, he's everywhere at the moment. I think he's in Paris today, interviewing some wealth managers there, and he wrote about this digitalisation of the portfolio management. But he's also been writing about the use of data, something you mentioned earlier on. Ali was speaking with US wealth manager Tiedemann Global. They work with a lot of families,
right,
and they were discussing a structural problem, the analysis of data missing from some key investment decisions, which was a very interesting point. And they said this is particularly prevalent in private markets and impact investments. And Sharmil, data is being collected by all businesses on every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, as the police once sung, with a financial services connection there as well. Is there an issue of how well this data is actually being analysed and deployed?
It's relatively easy to capture data, but once you've captured the data, you've got to clean it, you've got to store it, you've got to analyse it, you've got to turn that analysis into information, turn the information into insight, and then you need to turn that insight into something that's actionable intelligence. Yes, absolutely, financial services companies are pretty good at collecting data, but actually turning that into actionable intelligence, that they're finding that far harder. A lack of standardisation around that data, because it's private markets and you're not required to report in the same way as in public markets. Artificial intelligence is getting better and better at dealing with unstructured data. So I think a lot of the issues around investment decision making in private markets will start to be alleviated as AI becomes better in that area.
I think our next challenge, our next goal, Sharmil, will be analysing which type of tea our guests drink and how that relates to the accuracy of their predictions about the wealth management market. So we're really pleased that you joined us today, Sharmil. Sadly, that's all we have time for. And I know that Sharmil and hopefully many of our viewers will be with us for the WealthTech Awards in May, of which Sharmil is a judge. So please look out for our coverage when all the tech bros and sisters will be in town. Please keep sending in your questions for our guests. You can watch previous episodes of Tea Break on our PWM Net website and also on YouTube. See you next time.